On www.segongane.holdings.co.za. This is the Kgosietsile Segongane live show coming to you live from the Kgosi FM studios, number 702 Kgosietsile in Westview, Pretoria West in Danville. It's a Monday again, the Monday I heard about the politics a little bit, and today we are talking about why did Floyd Shivambu dish the EFF, the reasons behind, and as always, I'm with Professor, political analyst, Mr. Matjoi Mongale on the line from Kogai. Mr. Matjoi, dumela.
No, dumela morarega.
Awa kgosi ka re fete re sia mina le sem Kogai.
No, re santse re teng re bolokile ka mohau wa modimo. O tshilo bo santse bo le teng ka kwana. I'm
so glad to hear that, Miranaka. Thank you so much for taking your time, Miranaka, and your date and your time. I know that you've got a very busy schedule, but it's been a long time since we hear you, man. We have not heard him for a long time.
Yeah, no, indeed, I've been away for a while because I'm engaged in some other things, but at least I got time to engage. So let's hope that your listeners and I will share some views here and there.
Why, Bona? Yeah, no, thank you, Kgosiaka, for being with us today, because it really means a lot on Kgosi FM to have minds like yourself coming to talk to us about what's happening in our country, because like, it's about, not all of us are going to be we're going to be politicians in that mindset of really saying, yeah, now that's what's happening. Then at least we have people like you with your minds. It's very beautiful. At least we know what we are heading to in our political landscape. So, Mr. Matjoi, before we can continue further, I'm gonna pass by our advert appeal, and then we're gonna continue after this. Just hold on for me, please.
Okay.
All right. And remember, guys, the number is 064-548-776. You want to send your comments to us again, as always, please do that on the number 064-548-776. As you know, today we are talking about why did Floyd Shivambu ditch the EFF. So we want to hear from the expert himself to tell us, okay, and what does he think and how does he analyze this today. So after this, we're going to be continuing. This show is brought to you by Segongane Medical Services and Clinic. They are private clinic situated in number 70 Kgosietsile in Westview, Danville. They specialize on the following: primary health care, ailment diagnosis and treatment, including medication, wound care, family planning, well baby clinic, basic ultrasound, laboratory blood services, treatment of chronic illnesses, treatment and management of patients on ARVs, wellness screening, antenatal clinic, HIV services and counseling. They have a pharmacy on site, and they are doing CCMDD services as well, OHS clinic, circumcision clinic, and abortion services. Their cell phone number is 064-548-7176 or 071-422-8576. Again, the address is 702 Kgosietsile in Westview, Pretoria West in Danville. Cell phone number again is 064-548-7176 or 071-422-8576. Yeah, that is our sponsor for today, Segongane Medical Services and Clinic, Bamo Westview, Pretoria West. If you want to visit them, you can just go there, number 702 Kgosietsile in Westview, Danville, and then the number is, you've heard, is 064-548-7176. Yeah. All right, Mr. Matjoi, just to bring you in, you know most what happened over the weekend, I'm sure you have seen the news, and good long so today is the day for us to talk about what happened. Why do you think when Floyd has left the EFF? As we have seen over the weekend, like past week, Shivambu was resigned from the EFF and then joined the MK party, and he's not only resigning from the party, but resigning from the membership of the party and from the parliament and every other duty we feel more EFF. So when what do you take? What do you think is the cause, and why do you think he has left?
No, thanks. I think sometimes last week in the wee hours, I think it was around +2, I happened to be awake.
Yeah.
And then I saw on X, your former Twitter.
Yes.
Somebody saying EFF has organized a media press release.
Mm-hmm.
And then what also caught my eyes was that it was going to be addressed by the officials.
Yes.
So people on Twitter or X, they then said, no, but why the officials? Because all along we have always seen and we have always observed that media press statements are being addressed by the Commander-in-Chief, Julius Malema.
Yes, yes.
So why this? So people started raising a lot of questions. I also asked myself, but I did not want to conclude anything.
Yeah.
And then around past 4 to 5 in those early hours in the morning, and then there were speculations that 4 members, prominent members of the EFF in the leadership are going to leave the organization.
Did they even mention 4?
But I treated that. Yeah, they mentioned 4 back then.
Okay.
So I treated it as speculation, and I was dying to see that. So when it happened, SABC, the journalists and your political commentators, they started giving out names, and the name that was going out was that one of Floyd.
Yes.
And it was hard for me to believe. And then I was somewhere else, and I missed the press conference.
No, you can
but
get
later on.
Get that link here thing where you pila, because I've uploaded the whole video on our YouTube page, and I will send the link you pila for any ring.
No, I saw it, but I was saying on the day I could not catch it live.
All right, yeah.
But I'm able to access it.
All right, yeah.
So, but later on, when I was done with all my activities, it was now coming out strong that Floyd resigned. And he mentioned some points that are procedural.
Yeah.
That his membership lapsed, and the branch secretary notified him, and then he took a conscious decision not to renew his membership.
Yeah.
And he is resigning from EFF, from all portfolio of responsibilities assigned to him.
Yeah.
Also include where he's been deployed.
But do you think that he actually used that opportunity to say, okay, my membership has lapsed, so let me just go, and then let me just use this opportunity to say now I'm resigning? Or do you think like what do you make of it?
Yeah, because one of the things that we need to wait for, what we need to ask ourselves, why did he wait for the membership to lapse, and then after that, instead of renewing and then say, I've got the right not to renew.
Yeah.
You see, it displays some element of calculated discipline there. That was my reading.
Yeah.
Because if people are saying there's been a breakdown of relationship between Floyd and the president, Malema.
Malema, yes.
He should have done that. Yeah, he should have done that long time ago when the heat was high. But he awaited normal organizational processes that nobody can't force me to renew my membership.
Yeah.
And that's an element, that one is an element of high discipline.
Yes.
In my own reading. So it is issues like those that will make one not to easily buy in.
Yeah.
What other spectators and speculators are saying, to say, why wait for the term of your membership to lapse?
Yes.
Because people are now bringing in incidents of a fallout between Malema and Floyd that are being backdated.
Yeah.
But Floyd, given his political maturity and discipline, he waited for this, knowing that even Malema cannot say anything even though it is said that he attempted to persuade him to renew his membership and not to vacate. But because my assumption is that because this thing has been premeditated by both parties, it had to look in that way. So the begging, because once he leaves at the time when his membership has lapsed, and he notifies the president will then come to him and say, let's talk. It's not like if he could have abandoned it abruptly. That one will say, no, I've terminated my membership, so you can't say anything. But here it's about renewing the membership. So that on its own, it doesn't need us to be bitter, angry, sad. We must not rejoice over it. We just need to be sober and objective. I'm not saying I'm right, but my reading into the whole thing, because in all the examples that people will give, it has never happened the way Floyd did it. It has never happened the way Floyd and Malema did it. It has never happened the way other people did it. You must also trace how President Zuma handled his exit. After exhausting all avenues and taking the ANC leadership from pillar to post, the DC, etc. When they are done with that, having sent Tony Ngeni, and then a decision is taken, he's no longer chasing the process. You see, we, those of us who are interested in politics, just to have that little love, we are not masters of politics. Is that I like politics. So I will observe and want to learn something out of it. So this process of Floyd says a lot to me, to say, is this not a calculated move? Is the departure between two seasoned friends not a well calculated one? Is it a departure, a separation of people who are in a serious, harmonious relationship? So you can't quickly then conclude and say yes, and then cite a number of incidents, because in my own simple reading, even those incidents of a fallout between Floyd and Malema, I will categorize them into two. There are some that are real, where Malema might have reprimanded Floyd genuinely as anybody else. But my reading is that there are some that might have been manufactured, that might have been created, so that people like you and I can then pick them up and say, listen to this. This thing has been happening. So the decision that Floyd took is informed by this number of things. Because we need to ask ourselves, was the fallout not created some way?
By who? So, by who? And by who?
The two of them.
Okay.
In actual fact, I would say the two or three of them. I'll say Floyd and Malema. If I'm to go to three, Floyd, Malema, and Jacob Zuma.
Yes.
You see, I strongly believe that.
So you don't believe for the fallout is genuine?
It is. Yeah, my belief is that this fallout is not genuine.
Okay.
It's something that has been created.
Just as a cover, or as what?
Yes, it's a strategic and tactic. I can say strategic, but I can also say it's a tactical move. Done by activists of that caliber, of that caliber, the Floyd and the Malema.
But what could be the reason?
I've always categorized the relationship between Floyd and Malema as similar to that one of Mandela and Oliver Tambo.
Okay.
I have always, because I read many books of OR, I read many books of Mandela and their relationships, and where the incidents and where there might have been fallout, and some people said Mandela sold out, Tambo is angry with Mandela. Why is Mandela engaging the enemy without his knowledge and blessing when he was in Robben Island, and when he was not even in actual fact in Robben Island, when he was at Portsmouth prison,
yes.
When Tambo was abroad, there were those, and Mandela said the leadership of the ANC is in London under the stewardship of O.R. Tambo. But I'm just facilitating because the enemy back then could only access Mandela.
Yeah.
And they thought they would separate Mandela and Tambo. But because of that historical and revolutionary relationship, nobody could came between Mandela and Tambo. That is why in 1985, if I'm not wrong, at Orlando, when Mandela wrote a letter and handed it over to Zenani to read it, it was very clear that Mandela respected Tambo and the leadership and the organization. Okay. So what I'm trying to say in a nutshell, I followed the relationship between Floyd and Malema, and I will want to link it, draw some similarities between it and that one of and Floyd. There is somewhere, as long as people are not saying it, where Malema once said, if he passes on, he has already told his son, Ratana, that only Uncle Floyd must be the one who must take care of other processes that are political. I know that might have been said during the heat of a good relation. And it's possible, if that is part of the will, that Malema can go out and resume that position. But I just want to show indicators of a well-cemented between the two. This relationship stems from the ANC Youth League, one. Two, this relationship culminated in the formation of EFF, the drafting of concepts, putting of structures, but also the resource mobilization. You bring in the issue of the Mazotti, cigarette money, and the registration, and the visitation of Malema and others to all corners of the country when after they were expelled from ANC. You see? And you must check, and the last point, we need to check between Malema and Floyd, who was expelled. Was the charge of Malema and Floyd the same? No, it was not. Now, you need to check. It's not. Malema is the one who got a harsher sentence. But Floyd, because of their relationship and that one with Malema, they took a decision that we're going to champion the generational mission, which is economic freedom in our lifetime. So that mission will not be abandoned based on issues that people are citing. People are saying in one press conference, Malema reprimanded Floyd that the cameras are here, the journalists are here. I'm talking and you are reading the newspaper. It means you are bored. Whether that was made up or is genuine, but in my own analysis, it is very minute. It's not very quantitative. It's quantitative. Yes. I'm like for now, Kgosi. Whether I'm older than you, I'm on your show, etc. Supposing I do something, I can reprimand you. Exactly. I remember at some stage there was a time when I don't know what was the incident, and I needed to reprimand you because you were using some strong languages. But it was not like, no, I'm at Kgosi's Mercy. He's the one who invited me in his Segongane podcast, etc. No. And even if you felt bad that, no, but why didn't you call me aside? You did it whilst we were on air. But it's very quantitative because what you want to learn from me what I also want to learn from you, what we want to share, both of us and with the broader community, is bigger than that very same matter. That is why even today, after even this long break, you are able to come back to me. I'm able to phone you back and say, let's talk. Let's go back. So I'm trying to bring number of examples to say at times the difference between two parties can be genuine, real. But with these people, there is a more to it. There is a more to it. And I note and respect and acknowledge other incidents where people said, apart from that one of Malema reprimanding Floyd, there might have been another one where Mandela spoke ill, not necessarily of Floyd per se, but everybody. And people say, no, but this guy was so pompous to a point that other people might say, no, he thinks it's all about him. But these guys, they had different roles to play. They've got different roles to play. People are also citing this one of during the gala dinner, during the 10-year anniversary, where Malema said, if Floyd is enough with him, we must tell him so. He doesn't like people talking about behind his back. If Floyd confronts him, he will leave because he will take it as a genuine brotherly request, instruction, advice, whatever word you can use. And he will go back and do his gardening. But if somebody does something behind him and still hold an ambition, Malema said he's a tactician. He described himself as a tactician, as somebody who has never lost a conference, etc. But it does not mean it's given that you will forever win conferences, because your lack of yesterday may not necessarily be a lack in the future, because material conditions are not the same. People might agree with Malema during the process of lobbying, but come the process of voting, the results may shock him. So put that aside. So I'm trying to say he defined his relationship and his respect, and we need to check that. The last interaction that was public between Malema and Floyd, it was during the funeral of Moshe Mpashele. Nobody could say there is something between the two. I mean, on how Floyd appraised EFF and its mission, how Floyd called Malema into the stage, how Malema acknowledged what Floyd is doing. And you can't say on the day when Malema was given the letter by Floyd of resignation, he was shocked. So I'm saying he was not shocked, although Malema says he was shocked to receive, and he equates the pain to that one of receiving the news
losing
of
his mother,
he's losing his mother. So the whole thing needed to be well crafted so that political pedestrians, laymen like you and I, can quickly buy in and fall into the trap. And the trap is what they have formulated. You see? And there are many people, I see many people getting into that trap, not knowing that it was designed, and when they get there, and this one they say, no, that's how we wanted it. That's number one. Today, I just heard that Floyd responded and say, no, those who are saying the move is tactical, it's not true. He has left EFF. Do we expect Floyd to say, yes, it's true? No, he must carry on under the disguise that Malema is doing, because they started the disguise that we are going to pretend as if there is a separation, a divorce between you and I. You must show this face when the tone when you respond to the Junos as Malema. And also when I speak from the script, because Floyd was not expressing his personal view. He read everything from the script. Why didn't you want to deviate from the script? So that the message is within that framework of an agreement. the only person who is not generally speaking from the script is Malema. He expresses you and typical of him. But what people are saying, they read his facial expression, they read his tone, and they also listen to the content. And part of what Malema said is that the constitution of EFF does not allow the comeback. But for Floyd, he will do it because he's a founding member. But like, also given their relationship.
Ever come back again? He can't come back to EFF or?
No, he can come back. He said other members, once they leave EFF, they are not allowed to come back. Once gone and you're gone forever. Okay. But with Floyd, an exception is being created. And today, I don't know whether it's coincidence that this is prior to the conference, 3 months, 4 months prior to the December conference, that it says the office of the deputy president can be filled.
Will be vacant, yes.
It remains vacant up until such time.
Yeah.
So that during the process of lobbying, my reading is that during this process of lobbying, whoever is going to be the deputy president, he or she must be told that after an assignment is being carried by Floyd, when he comes back, and then you are expected to leave, don't hold it personal.
Are you serious?
Because one of the greatest mistakes that I read when Zuma and Khumalo did, they never prepared him adequately that when Zuma comes,
you go.
And you are expected to go. Yeah. You must not cry for your party. Yes, you can value your sacrifices and effort, but don't see this thing as yours because the mission is bigger than you.
Yes.
You see? Yeah. So I think it is incidents like those that they must, from now up until conference, they must, because lobbying is on for their top 5 or top 6. That's number one. Number two, whoever who's going to be lobbied, he or she must be prepared that after Floyd finishes his task wherever I believe is being deployed to perform, when he comes back, the individual must not hold strong and to the position. He must know that the real person for this position is coming.
Big. Yeah, you know, Mr. Matjoi. There's two fallouts that has been reported in the media about these two, right? The first fallout, which I just saw now, which I didn't even know of, but I knew that one. There was another one. There's a report that I read over the weekend, which was speaking about the first fallout is in like during the GNU negotiations. Apparently, Malema was negotiating on his behalf to become a deputy president of the country. And Floyd was negotiating to become the deputy minister or was offered the deputy minister. So I don't know how true it is, but it's an allegation that he was offered the deputy ministry and deputy minister of finance. And Malema Enebi, without consulting anybody in the party, was negotiating to be a deputy president of the country. So that little rift stood from there. So, and then I don't know what happened. And then they had a fallout on that as well. Now you are doing this on there and I'm doing this here. So we are not actually gelling together. Hareta one thing like this. And it doesn't look so good because now I'm busy negotiating this way and you're busy negotiating that way. And it's like now when I prepare, you're doing things for your own benefit to become the deputy president of the country. That's the first allegation. Then the other fallout, which I just read now, I'm going to read it to you now. It's from City Press, right? It says Floyd Shivambu submitted his resignation as the deputy president on Wednesday evening. But then the City Press has reliably been told that the EFF's second in command resigned following a fallout with firebrand Julius Malema, party leader Julius Malema. The source, who is a member of the party's top structure, said, and I quote, according to the source, Shivambu was approached by a group of wealthy businessmen or business people who allegedly promised him a lot of money to fund his campaign to contest Malema at the party's elective congress in December. Shivambu has allegedly agreed to accept the offer. All hell broke loose after Shivambu apparently got wind of what Malema got wind of what Shivambu was up to. Then the insider continued to explain The EFF is expected to brief the media at their Braamfontein headquarters in Johannesburg at noon. That was 12 o'clock on Thursday last week. According to information, Malema is not only going to announce Shivambu's resignation, but of several members as well. She said, and I quote, "There are few people who have resigned. Mzondela Manyi is one of them," said the source. Many allegedly resigned just after over a year. Manyi resigned just after over a year since he became an EFF MP in June last year. And last month, he after he quit the ATM. And then here, another quote is that after he found out that Floyd was up to, Malema became very brutal and things got sour between them. How do you make of that? Do you think that's true? Because there's two fallouts apparently that you have now. The first was Floyd was angry because O was negotiating on his behalf to become deputy president of the country during the GNU things. And then all of a sudden, this one was approached by a wealthy businessman to say, listen, Wena, you are going to December now. Can we fund? They are trying to do the CR17 thing with this one because they never did that before. Can we fund you so that you can be able to contest Malema out of the leadership position? What's your take on that?
No, thanks. Let's check City Press. Who's managing, controlling, funding, influencing the views of media in South Africa?
Naspers,
and Malema and Malema and Shivambu, they are quite aware.
Yes.
And even the story, whether written by a journalist, it might have gone through the editor, chief editor, who crafted it in such a way that it must cause this confusion, so that people must see a fallout between the two.
Yeah.
So firstly, we must analyze our source. You know, Smart created a close relationship between some of us with the former provincial chairperson of ANC Northwest, Popo Molefe.
Yes.
And I think on two incidents, when I was the leader of the ANC Youth League, and it was not the ANC Youth League. Yeah, I was in the ANC Youth League in the late 90s when I came back from college.
Yeah.
And also when I was in the BEC of the ANC in Ward 8 Morogoro branch. And then there was a time when we needed to pray for Popo Molefe.
Yes.
And then after narrating, giving him all the dynamics around Itu saying, etc. And then Popo asked some of us, the late Lucky Morule, they said, "Who's your source?" And we said, 1, 2, 3, said, "Is your source reliable and credible?"
Yeah.
And I learned something from Popo Molefe.
Yes.
So I'm saying, when we read these things from a mainstream media, that these guys have always attacked and opposed.
Yeah.
We must be very clear. What agenda are they trying to fulfill?
Yeah.
What objective is City Press trying to attain out of giving us that story? That's number one.
Yes.
That's number one. Number two, it says Malema went this way, Floyd went this way.
Yeah.
But we know the Veterans League of the ANC were the first people, I think late last year, to say that the enemy that the ANC can go into bed with is DA.
Yeah.
The first people to propose that the ANC must go into bed with should things don't go the way it happened on the 29th of May. It is the Veterans League, Snoopy Zigalal, that the ANC must start to engage a DA. Whether it happened, fine. The wish was there from Veterans League. And when we talk about the Veterans League, you're not talking about people who are very cheap in politics of the ANC and mass democratic movement and our revolution. Now, that's a platform of the gray hairs of men and women who say between ANC, DA and EFF, we better go into bed with this. But this was proposed, recommended by the Veterans League to the ANC.
Yeah.
And it's not a must. This is an auxiliary body. But at the same time, it's an auxiliary body of senior members of the ANC. Put that aside. Now, they had always maintained a stance. So if anybody comes and say,
at the last ask, ANC then said Malema must be the deputy president. I think you need to leave that story with some difficulties, because majority of the ANC we're not for that. Starting from Balula and others, not to say they could not be swayed to quantitatively reconsider their position, but they have always maintained. So when anybody comes with that story, you should not just buy it just like that. You should then remind him who ended it. But the Veterans League and the ANC has always maintained that they'll never get into bed with EFF.
Yeah.
And look what EFF has done when they were to form municipalities of coalition, and other things that they are saying to each other that are petty, politically petty, and etc.
Yeah.
Your personal battles that are necessary. But at a political point, the ANC has pronounced that it will never accommodate. So if a journalist or a journalist who is a source comes in and say, oh, this one was offered this was offered this one was negotiating on his behalf against this one, there was no way. In the event, Malema would have agreed. I don't think others would have easily agreed, because they prepared their membership that they are opposing the ANC.
Yeah.
You see? So if anybody comes and say, all of a sudden, this one is negotiating for himself, I don't see it happening. And if the ANC suggested Malema to be the deputy president, you remember, prior to the finalization of cabinet, there was this thing of DA, after a statement of consent, that DA was demanding the deputy presidency. You remember that one?
Yeah, hopefully, yes.
And then the Mashatile had to go. I will just imagine if Mashatile was to be replaced with Julius. And now that it's not DA, Mashatile and the team will have agreed. It doesn't add up.
Yeah.
It does not add up. It does not. It does not. If they can refuse with those that they agree that they must work with, having written a statement of consent with, why will they agree with Julius?
Yeah.
You don't have to swallow it with ease. It's not water that passes through the gut just like that.
Yeah.
So that source is trying to deceive us. That's number one.
Okay.
With Floyd being lobbied, the lobbying was on. The lobbying was on.
Lobbied by who?
And whether yes.
Lobbied by who?
Remember? Yeah. Now listen.
Yeah.
Remember the ANC, because they lost, they obtained 40%.
Yes.
Now they said, because ANC is for state power, they said we'll dictate to smaller parties so that they assist us in getting 50+1 to formulate a government.
Yeah. And
then we'll have a horse trade.
Yes.
So as to whether they go to Floyd as a person, but Floyd is not a person. He's the deputy president of the organization. They will lobby him as an individual, but it will never get a blessing from the central command of EFF.
Yeah.
So that on its own is futile. It doesn't add up. In my own reading, it does not add up. And you take Floyd as an individual, you don't get the buy-in of the entire EFF. Where do you put in DA? Because they were bringing 20% into this thing. And DA was very clear to the ANC when they signed a statement of consent that it was supposed to be about the two of them. It's only that the ANC extended its hand to other black parties, although there are few that came in. And it upset the DA. But quantitatively, they absorbed.
Yeah.
But when it goes to EFF, ANC had a stance against EFF. The Veterans League had a stance.
Yeah.
DA has a stance. So it's not it does not add up. Whoever who formulated that narrative, it does not add up. So we just want to trying to demonstrate to us that no, one of the things that polarized these people is this one was negotiating aside for himself and this one aside. That's number. So it does. I'm not convinced. The second one, is this one of rich people.
Yeah.
This is a socialist organization. I'm not saying whether pure socialist, communist, revolutionaries, or pseudo communist revolutionaries cannot be bought.
Yeah.
But yes, an attempt by somebody who is nasty and all last to say to Floyd he must contest, I will not deny that.
Yes.
But I don't see Floyd doing it. Because what will also become difficult for Floyd to be the president, challenge Malema, winning or losing. And supposedly, because people are saying Floyd is more popular than Malema going to the conference, it does not mean Malema will not be somewhere into the central command team of EFF.
Yeah.
And how are they going to do that? So you need to check some of the things that we do, transactions that we do in life. We need also to check our peace. You see? So in this regard, if there is a real fallout between Floyd and Malema, it is their own thing there, not this generated falsehood type of submissions by people.
Yeah.
And if it exists, it says to Floyd, for my inner peace, Julius, I don't want to fight you, and I don't want you to fight me. Let's depart in peace.
But do you think there's a fight between the two of them?
No, at political level there is no fight.
Then what is the reason why he's leaving and leaving everything as EFF?
Yeah. I'm gonna come there.
All right.
At political level there is no fight.
Yeah.
At personal level, if it exists, I don't think it was the first and the last that would have resulted in them going separate ways.
Yeah.
They might have fought many a times on side and off side of you and I, but they were able to identify the generational mission to be attained.
Yes.
So even this one of a rich person coming in and say contest this one, Floyd is not a fetus in politics. For him to see, no, you are now setting me up against members of EFF and Julius and the likes. You will not have agreed to that.
Yeah.
Now, your question is, what might have led to the separation?
To this, yeah.
In my own view, this is a tactical, political chess move. There is a concept that is being thrown in. There are people who are trying to disqualify it. But the concept is Black Progressive Caucus.
Yes.
You and I must agree that we are not part of that. Two, what if there is a horse trade that at the level of Progressive Black Caucus, an agreement was reached between Floyd and Malema, between Malema and Zuma, amongst Malema, Zuma, Floyd.
Yeah.
That this is what you're going to do. We'll release this one to go and assist MK in terms of putting systems in place.
Yes.
Because this concept of Black Progressive Caucus is not just a concept that you and I are generating it here. No, you need also to analyze, because it's a key word. It's a key word.
Yeah.
Because if the fallout might have been there and there is no MK, will Floyd leave and go away? But why did Floyd choose to go to MK? They are all saying MK and EFF, they are not too polarized.
Yeah.
They are closer to each other.
Mm-hmm.
They may differ strategies, the what part.
Yeah. And
as for the how part, they need to get somebody who will align issues. My reading, and I'm not a maestro in politics.
Yes.
My reading is that Floyd is being released to assist the ANC,
MK party to align its political structures, because MK party has the potential to infiltrate and cause further damage, both to EFF, ANC, and DA. Yeah.
and others. But black people are saying we can no longer afford to have organizations like COPE collapsing, because what then becomes a problem, and what then became a problem of COPE, is people who sponsored the formation, the Dalai Lamas who sponsored the formation of COPE,
yes,
and they believed that now that these seasoned comrades, Shilowa and Lekota and all those who were there, Smas Ngonyama and all those who were there, the Josh Umleleki, all those who were there at COPE, they are experienced in managing the processes of putting systems in place. It will not have gone there.
Yeah.
But what they underestimated, undermined, underrated was the personal ambitions between Mbazima and Lekota. That was not properly managed. So my belief, assumption, and hope is that with MK likely to go the same route, they are loaning this individual.
Yes.
At a time when MK does not have permanent structures, everything is like Ubaba said, Zuma says this, and people are comfortable with that. You see?
Yeah.
So Floyd, in my own view, is there to assist in aligning things.
So this
for
for
MK or
yeah.
for organizationally.
So
they're going out of Mani being a seasoned activist.
Yeah.
A seasoned activist who has a governance and communication experience.
Yeah.
Might have also been brought in. This thing that Mani is a chairperson and spokesperson of Zuma Foundation, it's a minor thing. The relationship might be there, but it's a minor thing.
Yeah.
But what goes is, what is it that he brings in? It's an added advantage that he has a relationship with Zuma and those around him.
All right.
It's just an added advantage.
Yeah.
But the question is, what is it that Mani is expected to bring in going there?
Yes.
So if Floyd goes on the organizational mission, Mani goes into the government, governance mission, so that the doctor, who's the former judge who was
Dr. Sope, yes.
and all others who are there, that they must learn from these two brains.
Mani and Floyd.
Yeah, Mani will go the governance way because of his experience from the ANC, the experience he acquired when he was an MP from EFF. You see?
Yeah.
He will then guide them on how to run their affairs and also the communications, etc.
Yeah.
Floyd will go into the formation of the organization. Yes,
all right. I've got some WhatsApps here that I would like you to read to you, but I just want to remind people that you are still listening to us on www.kgosiefm.co.za and coming to you live again on www.segonganeholdings.co.za/KgosiFM/. I'm in conversation with Mr. Matjoi Mongale. He's a political analyst from Kgosi. I'm promoting locally. Now look Limpopo political analyst. Let me know on 064548776, and we can have you on one of our shows just to analyze. So I've got 3 SMSs now from Calvin. But why we speculate when Floyd said he didn't want to say anything? He said he didn't want people or media speculating. Then the second one, Mani is not just a politician, he's a good in finances too. Then the last one, MKP doesn't have politicians, it has activists. Dr. Sope is old, he can advise, but he needs young-minded people like Floyd who are young and energetic. So when I get to, what do you think about that? Because the first question, why do we speculate when Floyd said we must not speculate? He didn't want to say anything. And then he said he didn't want people or media speculating. And then Mani joins the the MK again, because it's not just only a politician, but it's good in finances as well. And then the last one, the MKP doesn't have politicians, it has activists. So Dr. Sope is old, he can advise, but he needs young-minded people like Floyd who are young and energetic. What's your take on all those three?
Thank you. Floyd from EFF coming from a Young Communist League, coming from ANC Youth League, coming from ANC.
Yeah.
Floyd coming from EFF. Floyd going to MKP.
Yes.
They've identified the enemy.
Okay. And
they
who
know
is?
how to define it. Yeah, I'll come there.
Yeah.
They know how to define and categorize the enemy.
Okay.
Do you think if they say why people must not speculate, and somebody says to us, but Floyd said we must not speculate. Why do you speculate? Do you think Floyd will give us, if this thing is a tactical move,
Yes.
do you expect him to agree that, yes, this is what we are doing? Is it not a way of empowering the enemy? Remember, the enemy in this regard, it is white monopoly capital.
Yeah.
You see?
Yes.
And according to them, this white monopoly capital is being enabled to further its mission by the ANC through this grand coalition stroke GNU.
Yes.
So Floyd is expected of him to say, it's expected, it's normal of him to say, don't speculate. And somebody wants us to buy in what Floyd is saying. I'm saying, I'm speculating because my political viewing and my political reading of the whole thing is this is a political technique.
Yeah.
So they must at all material times deny what we see as pedestrians so that we fall into what they're saying. And I'm refusing to remain where they are. Yeah. I'm refusing. And I'm trying to lobby many people to say, go beyond. Look at these people in terms of their relations. Analyze NK. The view that NK is full of activists and it lacks a good political administrators.
Yeah.
Might be good. It might be good. Hence, Floyd might say that he's going there to align. You see? Zuma is old. He's a good tactician. He's good. But time is against him and all other factors that you can think of.
Yeah.
So they are loaning this guy, fresh and etc. And it is, I assume, I believe, and I hope he has been loaned.
But you think it's a loan? Do
So,
you think it's a loan? Really? There's nothing real about this. Hey, resignation, I'm leaving, blah, blah. You know, you think it's just a loan? Like one day you'll come back?
Yes. Malema said, for him, if Malema goes to the next, wins the next coming conference in December.
Yes. Yes.
He will still say to people, when the mission is carried of normalizing NK, and Floyd says, hey, we are fighting go MK.
Yeah.
And when the fight does not exist, and then he says, let me try to disguise by saying, I went to knock at Lituli, they refused. Hey, I can't go to IFP. I can't go to what.
Yeah.
My home remains as a socialist, aspirant socialist. It's EFF, and they opened the door for him.
Yeah.
Then why not?
Yes.
So I'm saying is that low because a room to accommodate him as he comes back has already been created, provided Malema becomes the president.
Yeah.
And even if the position is going to be occupied by somebody, if Floyd comes back as a deputy president or something else with a particular role to play.
Yeah.
But during the economic freedom mission attainment, you don't need Floyd to be a deputy president to be the deputy president of the country. He will still be deployed anywhere else into key strategic position, whether finance minister, when both EFF and NK have taken over.
Yeah.
So his coming back may not necessarily require him to go horizontal. Now that I left the position of deputy president, I must then go and occupy it. Okay. You see?
Yeah.
The same as some of us. We had some challenges. I had some challenges with the ruling party, the ANC. There is a stance that you will get later on about me.
Yeah.
But if I go back to the ANC, I can't say, no, I was once a branch chairperson, therefore automatically, no. There will be a certain role that I'm going to play either at the backseat as an activist, at the level of the subcommittee of education or whatever, wherever I'm needed.
Yeah.
Or sometimes I'll remain a civic member, join SANCO, participate as a resident, and my views can also be taken. And if people become hostile with my views, I'll find a way of making my submissions behind closed doors, but I'll still contribute. If I don't go back to the ANC supposedly directly,
yes,
I go to party or I go to SANCO. You see?
Yeah.
So there will always be that. And maybe tomorrow, which is 2030, 35, the ANC will say, no, let's utilize Comrade Matjoi, SACP. And if somebody says no, but they say no, he was not even supposed to come back on a horizontal scale. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
Because most of the people, when you listen to them, it's like, no, Floyd left, and then he's going to be the deputy president at MK, as if there is this horizontal movement. And we don't read politics that way.
Yeah.
We don't read politics that way.
Yeah.
So the fact that MK is full of activists, yes, is true. And maybe an internal analysis has been done that they lack some chief maestro administrators, and they saw Floyd as somebody who can do that because he was chief in aligning EFF after they are followed with the ANC Youth League and ANC and forming MK. He was the brain behind the formation of EFF in terms of streamlining their ideology, their mission and administration.
Yeah.
So put that aside. So there's the thing. And if somebody says that the Sope is old, so are many who are there.
Yes.
So he will advise in terms of formulating issues that Floyd will do and say, but let's check the legal part of them. You see?
Mm-hmm.
So will then say, let's check the legal part of what you are bringing in. And as to what you are bringing in, because MK is advocating for the Africanization of the South African Constitution, it will then say, what do you do as some policies of MK? They must reflect the African constitutional character.
Yeah.
And even things that you are going to say at the level of parliament, you, Jimmy Mani, when you say this, those things, they must be aligned with what we say from the party and what we also say from our view as people who want to do away with the Dutch Roman law. So he will still advise. He might not be astute political chief administrator, but he will still advise. So what did the person also said? He said an MK is full of activists, not administrators. Why do we speculate when Floyd said we must not speculate? No,
yes,
we must speculate. We must speculate because they cannot show their true color to the enemy. They can't. I don't expect Floyd to say, yes, the move is tactical. He must maintain it.
But the question is, to what end, Mr. Matjoi? Like, what end do you think this whole loan and this whole political chess moves, to what end? Like, what's going to happen after this whole thing? Like, maybe they say their goal is achieved, then what?
My reading as an activist is that on the immediate, it's about local government elections.
I see. Okay.
One of the things that we must be, we people are holding their breath as to whether MK will live up until 2026.
Yeah.
Tight, strong, etc.
Yeah.
So if Floyd is there, he's able to put systems in place, and they win the majority of the wards, municipalities, etc. With systems that will have put in place.
Yes.
It's not going to, and then once that mission is carried, it will be easy for them to translate some of them into national elections, subject to when are they going to hold their national conference.
Yeah.
So I'm giving you into two. At the level of governance, he may streamline things, preparing them on how to approach local government elections.
Yes.
One.
Yeah.
Two, he may streamline things heading towards their conferences. And then, you know what informs your national conference? It must start with branches it must go to regions, it must go to province, it must go to your national congress. So he's going to align that. That's my reading. So it's a question of what target are they putting for themselves. If they say then the national conference will be in 2026 January or December, let's say, then the processes of putting local structures, they will have a time frame. The process of having the municipal substructures, the regional structures, the provincial structures, that will be informed. And you need systems to be put in place heading there.
Yeah.
So once that is done, that will be attained for local government, their state of readiness, and also conferences, so that you don't have similar things that happen during the formation of COPE.
Yeah. All right. Let me go down to other WhatsApp, still coming from Calvin himself. Calvin Mosekare Mowat 60 says MKP. Let's see, is this one? Yeah, MKP. No, let me go back there again. Kodim. We analyze politics, you understand that this is a political tactic. We must remember Zuma's daughter cannot stand against the Zulus, so she needs someone who is stable in politics. So we know him. We know it alone, like in football. Yes, it alone, sir. There's no bad blood in this one. So he agrees with you, Mr. Matjoi. Floyd MKP for now. And then he says, MKP needs a leader and not the faces in MKP that the political society doesn't know. So he will be the face and real president of MKP. Remember what Zuma said: those who are in parliament cannot hold positions in the NEC of MKP. So they are deployed to account to the NEC. That way, there is separation of power, and power is held by the NEC of MKP. Then he further goes to say, in MKP, there is no real politician besides Zuma. Everybody says he was the brain. Floyd is not a politician, but good in administration in terms of policy. Manye ran the Jacob Zuma Foundation. We must not forget about that. Yeah, that is Calvin's comment. So, and if you want to send your own comments, do that now on 064-548-776. As you know, I'm in conversation with Mr. Matjoi Mongale. He is the political analyst and activist Pila from home. So as I said, now I'm promoting local. So as I said earlier, if you're in Limpopo, KZN, wherever, and you're aspiring politician or aspiring political commentator, please retint on 064-548-776 so that we can be able to feature in one of our shows, because again, that's how we build each other. So Mr. Matjoi, I'm going to play response reaction Ndate Sufi, right? So I would like you to listen to that, and then we can analyze that after. Ne?
Yeah, before that.
Yeah.
No, I respect the view. The guy who just wrote there.
Okay, Calvin. Yeah.
But it will be Calvin. But
yes,
it will be a mistake for us to keep silent when he says Floyd is not a politician.
Okay.
You know there are stages, ne?
Yeah.
There are stages. And I said Floyd comes from YCL. Yeah.
Okay.
And Floyd is a politician.
Yes.
And Floyd is a cadre, and Floyd is a commissar.
Yeah.
Now, so the difference is what is a cadre, what is a commissar.
Yes.
You see?
Yeah.
A commissar is more like a teacher, a political teacher.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Floyd was commissar, he was the teacher. That is why all umkhabulo of EFF, all ideologies were advocated by Floyd by virtue of him being fluent and clear, etc., etc.
Right.
And that he acquired from YCA and ANC Youth League, but mostly YCA.
All right.
Put that aside.
Okay.
That's number one. Number two, Floyd is a cadre. And when you say a person is a cadre, it means that person is all-rounded. Floyd is a cadre. And therefore he will be a comrade. He might be showing interest and he might have demonstrated this good performance and passion in administration.
Yeah.
But he's a politician. Never underestimate, and see him only as maybe a technocrat that is not politically balanced.
All right.
The man is sharp politically.
Yeah.
So I want you and other viewers, listeners, and participants to see Floyd as such.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Calvin, I'm sure, Calvin, you have heard the answer against Mr. Matjoi. He says no. Floyd is a politician, and he has actually explained why he says he's a politician. So respond number fanas why. The number is 064-548-776. You are listening to Kgosi FM, coming to you live on www.kgosiefm.co.za. The name of the show, Yamo Kgosi FM, at the moment is the Kgosietsile Segongane live show, streaming live on Kgosietsile Segongane Facebook page. And I'm going to upload this video tonight on my YouTube page, which is the same name as the show, airing the Kgosietsile Segongane live show. And then you can comment there, like, subscribe, please. Let's reach 1,000 subscribers at least by the end of the month here, August. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna play this audio clip that Panazali Sufi, when he was addressing the state of the province address over the weekend, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, he touched on the Floyd Shivambu matter. So let me just give him a chance so that he can be able to tell us what he thinks, and then we can be able to analyze it both. Yeah, hold on.
The departure of the Deputy President of EFF, Floyd Shivambu, from EFF to MK Party, it can't be seen as a non-entity. It's a historic event. And as the leadership of the ANC, we must analyze it in a manner that will strengthen the presence of the ANC. If we are going to be quick to celebrate the departure of Comrade Floyd from the EFF, we'll forget that ourselves were going through a departure of members of the ANC to MK Party, that we are still going through that particular process. So we must manage these departures in a manner that you don't get easily excited. We might be experienced. When UDM was established, they came out of this political party called African National Congress. When COPE was established, they came out of this political party called the African National Congress. When MK Party was established, they came out of this political party. So the departure of Comrade Floyd from the ANC is a double-edged sword that we need to manage carefully. From EFF is a double-edged sword that we need to manage carefully. But I want to urge you, comrades, our concentration must not be on those political parties. When we spoke about strengthening our segmentation and new mobilization of new structures, our obsession should be on those that we believe we can win over to join and be part of the African National Congress. What it means, therefore, comrades, is that we must concentrate on bringing organization or labor movement or social movement like NUMSA to come back to the revolutionary fold and be persuaded to be part of these progressive forces of our people. We must not leave any movement outside, comrades.
Yeah, that was Tate Panazali Sufi while he was addressing the ANC, and I think he was doing the State of the Nation. I don't know if I'm just not sure if he was doing the State of the Province address, but it was over the weekend, and I apologize for that. And then, yeah, what do you think of that, Mr. Matjoi? Do you think what he says is plausible? What's your take on that?
The ANC is bleeding. And the bleeding has not started now, even after losing national elections.
Yes,
that is why he's bringing your post apartheid, your UDM, your COPE, your EFF, etc., etc.
Yeah,
the ANC as a broad church. And in his closing remark is that we must bring all these structures into the fold, into the ANC. The ANC is not happy about people leaving. The real ANC is not happy. But the other thing, there is a key word that Panyasa Lesuf is using there. He's saying we must analyze.
Yeah.
So this thing of analyzing is not a monopoly to some and who happen to be members of the ANC.
Yeah.
I'm an activist in my own right.
Yes.
I'm analyzing. And analysis can be right or wrong.
Yes.
And if it is political and scientific, it needs to be put into a test.
Yeah.
And my views will be contested by others who are also going to analyze. So I must not be denied the chance to analyze. Neither should I oppose others who are also analyzing differently from me.
Yes.
The question is, which one of the two analyses that is being made becomes out strong, and what influence that analysis? And part of the analysis that the ANC in Gauteng will do, they will also say, what if Floyd's departure is not necessarily what we see?
Yeah.
There are those who are going to say that. So when we say people must not say, no, we are mad, this and that and that and that. Already there are some people, not ordinary citizens, not only members of the EFF and whatever, even members of the ANC.
Yeah.
They're saying, we are ready. And one is too many. There are people are saying, but what is this thing? It's and bring their own views. This is a tactical move of strengthening MK, this and that and that and that. So the buzzword there is analysis. So they will analyze.
Yeah.
Now, during the analysis, they will categorize. If it is real that there is a fallout,
yes,
does the ANC stand to benefit? If it is a real fallout,
yeah,
and you went to MK, strengthening MK, how does it weaken EFF, but also the ANC? Looking at the type of a cadre Floyd is, so they're going to analyze, and part of their analysis is he's saying we must bring the NUSAS and everybody back to the ANC as their historical political home, including the Floyds, including the Malemas.
Yes.
Remember what comrades in Gauteng and comrades in SACP were saying. In fact, they were sort of then challenging the view of the ANC Veterans League.
Yeah.
To say the irritation of EFF, Malema, Floyd, and others, as against the betrayal of the political and historical mission. Which of the two can you stomach?
Yeah.
You cannot stomach the noise that Malema is doing, but you are able to stomach the sustenance of and the revival of DA. Yeah. And DA not as a white organization, but what they stand for.
Yes.
It's a betrayal. Somewhere, I think in the very same clip, although you might not have played it, he's saying it is important for organization. I think he said one of the lessons that we have learned is that organization, he said generational mixed organizations suffer consequences like this. Because he's trying to say, with the ANC, once young people fight, the Umgwenya, they are called that, the old guards in the ANC, they are being called in and they give historical and political perspective in reconciling an issue, which is very key. And more Africa is like that. You know, Kgosi, supposing you and I are peers, in my 70s or in my 80s, we are within that belt,
yeah,
and then we differ. And when you say more, Bra Foster comes in. I respect Bra Foster. You respect Bra Foster.
Yes.
You respect Smart, etc., etc. You know, some of the elders, they will be able to come in their capacity as our elders and brothers and say, Matjoi, whether he's younger than you or whatsoever, you must respect him.
Yes.
And must respect his profession.
Yeah.
Never should you at any material time disregard, disrespect Khosi's profession. Khosi, Matjoi is older than you. You must respect him, not only on the basis of age, but as a human being, as an African,
yes,
as a brother.
Yeah.
You see, as a fellow resident. But also Matjoi is one of our activists here. He's a teacher, this and that and that. So, you know, when you listen, it's like he's trying to say, both of you are wrong to disrespect each other. You owe each other a respect, and this is what you need to do. And this is an elder bringing us together. Yeah. So with EFF, what Panyasa you did not play, said go that Lekota. You are saying to the Lekota, what if Floyd's departure is true, although he spoke as if he believes that is true.
Yeah.
If it is true, it's because they don't have somebody senior politically, because either Floyd and Malema are the most senior people who formed EFF. Even though Dali is older than Malema, is older than him in terms of other areas, life and politics, but in terms of politics of EFF, who's older there is Floyd and Malema.
Yes.
You see?
Yeah.
So he said, by virtue of them not having Umgwenya, that's why this thing is happening.
Okay.
So that's one of the things that he said, go weekend. But the other thing is saying, like I'm saying, is putting in the buzzword of analyzing. And people might also say, what if Floyd is on a loan? But and the analysts will then say, how does the ANC stand to benefit? How does NK stand to benefit? How does EFF stand to benefit? And how do we stand to lose out of that? Because losing a person of Floyd's caliber, and like I always said, Floyd is not a person.
Yeah.
It's an institution. How many young people of Floyd's caliber left the ANC and went to many political parties?
Yes.
And that thing, it has made the ANC to lose a lot of blood.
Mm-hmm.
Look at what is happening, you need to see. When other people celebrate that, the Matjoi are gone, you listen to the smarts of, and many people, they are worried to say, one is too many, but we have invested in this person. You see?
Yeah.
They look at the contribution of an individual, one, but also the mission of the ANC is to keep everybody. When Sisi Kaseme formed the South African Native National Congress, he said, Mzulu, Mtswana, Mkosa, Mopedi, Mosotho, Mshangane come together.
Yeah.
So anybody who says, no, Matjoi Kanatama, Remukatali, Otama, 1,000 will come, then that person is a political amateur.
Yeah.
Because one is too many. Because somebody will then say, you might be happy that Matjoi as an individual left, but what damage is he going to do wherever he goes? And what is it that we are losing? And the investment we made in him. You understand? Yeah, and now people, when the Matjois go back into the ANC, SACP, Sanko, etc., and then they feel like, no, it's not about Hunenga. Yes. It's about the mission of, like the closing statement, everybody must come back to the Congress movement.
Yeah.
NUMSA. The departure of NUMSA Kosatu, it has weakened Kosatu. Because people will tell you that NUMSA and NAM, those were the unions that kept the glue of Kosatu. That was there. How was there? But in NUMSA, politically, both in terms of the content, their political orientation, yes, and also numbers. You see, content and numbers. So somebody will say, no, Matjoi is an individual, majority. But somebody say, do you know how much that person can assist us with in terms of his, if Matjoi continues his service as a commissar? Do you know how much we can benefit? He can enables us to multiply.
Yeah.
You see, you don't celebrate the departure of Mwanago Khaluna if you know the mission of the Congress movement.
Yeah.
But only a petty person who wants to satisfy his ego and pride and etc. Say, no, Aganatama. But the real Ngwenya will always be worried. That is why. And you must not just think he's just mentioning those political parties for the sake of, no. He's calling Bantolo Misa the formation of UDM. He spoke of COPE.
Yeah.
He spoke of EFF. he spoke of NUMSA and many other organizations. You see? As to whether there are some people who are working on some of us, the Matjoi is to say, okay, Matjoi, despite 1, 2, 3, go back to the movement, go back to party, go back to civic, go back to the Congress movement. We'll see, and don't go there with an expectation that you will lead, because there is a certain role that you must play. Yeah. The ANC now is preparing for 2026.
The local government elections.
And don't you think yes. And don't you think the ANC will come to me and say, Matjoi, whether this thing happened to you, we intervened or not intervened, and if we intervened, it was not adequately, or this and that and that. But let's sort out the fallout. Why? Because we don't expect a person of your caliber to be doing 1, 2, 3, 4, and to have reacted this way. Yeah. And I saw but they will have played their part. Yes. But they will have played their part. Yeah. So that when they submit a report, there's a revolutionary song that we used to sing that kuzobanjani mazihlele ngoTambo bezimtshela. How will it be when we sit with Oliver Tambo and tell him that this is what the Boers did to us?
Yeah.
So there is a time when we're going to account politically. So we so believe. I think Christians have a way that they are going to account for their sins on earth. Now politicians believe that when this earth is deformed and we account for religious affairs, political and whatever, then we will go to Oliver Tambo, Litul and account. Matjoi, why did you betray the mission? You see? And they will say, no, Tambo, but Mama, you shouldn't have done that. Yeah. But we sent the Kgosis, the Smartest, the whoever, the Martin Mukwani to come and talk with you and say, no, Matjoi, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Even those comrades who might have upset you, they regret or will talk with them. But we can't afford to have you outside the movement.
Yeah.
Yes. Because we are contesting state power with the intention of ensuring that ANC mission and vision is attained, and the fundamental objective of the National Democratic Revolution, which is the creation of the National Democratic Society, is created. Formation of a non-racial, non-sexist, united, democratic, prosperous South Africa.
All right. Let me go now to...
It's very key. Thank you.
Let me now go now to the WhatsApp again, just to get a feel of what people are saying. Remember, you're still coming to you live on 064-548-776. I'm in conversation today with Mr. Matjoi Mongale. He's the political analyst. So let's talk about. Don't be surprised. Sorry, this is not an interview. We are analyzing something here. Because people might ask, why do you No, it's an analysis, this thing. It's not an interview. I'm not interviewing him. If it was Floyd, I'll interview him like one question after the other. But this one is an analysis of what's happening in EFF. So, Calvin, to what end? I can give it to what end? Then he says, and when he answers that, to what end he can be the president of MKP, because Zuma needs someone to take the party forward. With that said, Malema and Floyd will be leading the two biggest opposition in the world, in the country, that will vote together. Remember, once GNU fails, the GNU cannot come back and blame ANC, UDM, or IFP. Remember, once GNU fails, it means all that group has failed. Then the two political oppositions are next in line. Do you agree with that, in short?
I don't agree. I want to maintain the position of a lone.
Yeah.
I don't agree the view that says Floyd will lead MK.
MK, yes.
There are people who started MKP.
Yeah.
And with systems put in place, there's going to be people who are going to lead it.
Yeah.
And I don't think Floyd will be comfortable to be one of those, because he's on a low. Okay. That's my analysis, my belief.
On this one.
There are other people, and Zuma is aware that his time is up in terms of age, etc., etc., etc.
Yeah, all right.
I think there are other people, even Floyd. I don't think if he agrees, but I know you will not agree openly, so that he's on a low.
Yeah.
That for him to go and lead MK, and then him leading MK, Malema leading EFF, then that formula, that the two strong political party, then that will defeat the ANC. It's something else.
Okay.
The mission of
MK and EFF.
Yeah.
Remember two things.
Before Gatana on that, Mr. Matjoi, before Gatana,
Yes.
let me just, because it's a lot of WhatsApp star, Calvin, let me just go to them each, and then I'll just ask you if it needs be to respond briefly on each of these segments.
Yes.
Yeah, and then the other one, Floyd Shivambu, man, they cannot walk the ground. Say, I take nothing from him, but he cannot walk the ground. If you cannot walk the ground, how are you going to form a structure? If you say he's a teacher, this is where the problem is. Then with the EFF, they will keep winning universities as opposed to other members of the community. Then his response to Panyaza's clip are, Ayman Panyaza regurgitate history in terms of even PAC, UDM, Boa Zapo, Bo EFF, Bo Cope. Yes, we know, but every time this happens, the ANC is busy falling below 50%. It will still go down if they soon don't take this serious. And then he says, Gwede said even Gwede himself warned the ANC not to expel the Youth League. This is why even today ANC is no Youth League. Look at the ANC leader who is failing to university elections but one seat in parliament. And then the other one, because he has sent a lot, I'm just going to go through all of them. I hope they can catch up.
Yes.
You will see and feel pain once the JNU loses. Then you will see the only option left will be MKP and EFF. One thing you must not take for granted is what Cyril is doing. Cyril might be taken as an agent of CIC, as CIC always say, but he might be breaking the ANC down since it has been arrogant and still wants to see black people get what the Freedom Charter promised people. This can only be achieved by EFF and MKP because they are straight about what they want. Because ANC cannot turn back to their sunset clauses they have signed. Cannot turn back on the sunset clause that they have signed. The last one, MKP will be a force to be reckoned with. About your Machela Koko, Brand Molif, and others that might go there and actually add to the MKP. Pella, you must remember the people who came back and say the people who come back and say they are corrupt, but look at the NPA dropping the charges against dropping the charges because of delays and lack of evidence. These guys found a way to supply Eskom and Transnet and made it profitable with little. They know a way around the white monopoly capital. Yeah. Quite the mouthful from Calvin here in Ward 60.
Yeah.
Calvin Mosekare, thank you so much, my bro. He's always active, this boy, when it comes to Kgosi FM and analysis that we do. And sometimes I do have him in studio, and I know. Whenever he's there, he's like you. How to platform. Yeah. So what's your take in all that as a summary to what he said?
Yeah, number one, the mission. Remember when Zuma said ANC they started to call ANC Ugogo.
Yeah.
Because they realized that Helen Zille is dictating some terms in the ANC.
Yeah.
He said the real leader in the ANC is no longer Cyril.
Yes.
Let alone this thing that Zuma was saying, Cyril bought the conference, this and that and that and that.
Yeah.
But he started to see a DA through Helen Zille influencing. And then Zuma said, and other people, we must go and capture the ANC and transform it and bring it back.
Yes.
And once that happens, they were going to disband Umkhonto weSizwe. But of late, after they seeing this thing that is so entrenched, they said, no, there's no need of us fighting for the soul of the ANC. The ANC is gone and gone forever.
Yeah.
That's their view. That's number one. The mission of MK and EFF, number two, is to further weaken the ANC. And if the ANC get more weakened going to date, with a belief that even a DA will go down, then the ANC will be left with no choice but to beg formation. Let's say ANC is 40 now. EFF, DA is 20.
Yes.
They're forming 60. No?
Yeah.
So leave these others. If you take ANC to 20 and maintain, if you take ANC to 20 and maintain DA to 20 or anything below, and the EFF and MK, both of them combined, they bring
vote 2020. Ne?
Yeah.
Possibilities are they will then trap with other smaller parties to get 51 plus and form their own government of national unity. So the mission of both MK and EFF is to dislodge the ANC, but with the primary focus being what? A DA.
Yeah.
Because the DA will forever remain their prime enemy. The ANC, through possibilities that conferences may recover through the influence of COSATU and SECP, they might forgive the ANC. So, but we can understand that the ANC will never commit what MK and EFF think the ANC has committed in terms of going to bed with a DA.
Yes.
So the whole thing, the mission here of these two political parties, you will never see them fighting. You will never see pedestrian activists, laymen, who are saying Floyd can go to hell with Floyd. You will observe that Malema will not talk ill of MK and Floyd.
Yeah.
Key people in MK will not talk ill of Malema and whatever, and that has been said. Because their mission is to increase their percentages.
Yeah.
And my assumption is that possibilities are MK has a possibility of going to 25%.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
Whether EFF moves from 11 that they got to 15. 25 plus 15 gives you 40. Now you must then ask where will this other percentage of ANC and DA be? It will be lower.
Yes.
And then they are able, with this concept of black progressive organization, they will then form their 51 plus GNU moving forward. That's the main mission in the long run.
Yeah.
That's my prediction. That's my mission. And MK is moving faster than EFF. And my reading is that they have made that analogy at the level of team meeting, Malema and Zuma, Malema, Zuma and Floyd. They've made that analogy that young people are becoming political conscious. They will forever vote for EFF. Let's say we increase our percentage from 11. We're coming from 14. If we move from 11 and go to 15, basically we would have increased by 1% because we were at 14.
Yeah.
But let's say we maintain there. And then with MK obtaining 14, let's say they go to 20 to 25. You take 25, add to 15 of EFF is 40. Where will they put the ANC? It will have dropped according to their reading. DA will have dropped according to their reading. And this smaller political party will come in and boost the formation of GNU, this other guys, MK and EFF.
Yes.
Now, whoever who's going to lead the country, etc., they will cross the bridge when they get there. But they will have dislodged. Because now when they get there in 2029, they will then call the ANC. The ANC, you are the leader. You have led us. We come from you. You are our mother.
Yeah.
Come back. Let's govern the country for the sake of black people. But here are the terms. Let's reform. I don't know whether reform or transform the constitution. Let's work on the issues of freedom charter. This and that and that and that. Leave DA. They've got nothing to offer you.
Yes.
That's the long-term objective of these two people, MK and EFF.
All right. No.
so as to whether who runs faster than the other one, to them it's immaterial.
Yes.
What is important? That is why I was saying the concept of Black Progressive Caucus movement, Black Progressive Caucus. That concept is not a concept that has been sold there. That's number one. He says, I'm just saying Floyd cannot work the ground by saying he's a teacher. He's an activist. He can work the ground.
Yeah.
But not as Malema can, because there are those who are good at boardroom politics and they make an impact. And when we say a person is a commissar addresses a platoon. A commissar addresses a platoon, and a platoon is a sizable number of people that you can address on a particular mission.
Yes.
That is why you are called
a commissar.
A commissar, yes.
You see? Yeah, you are a teacher addressing a sizable class of learners, aspirant, future, whatever activist. So that's what Floyd can do. But yes, he may not have a reach out like Malema and the likes.
Yeah.
You see, we have always known the role that Christian could play. We have always known the role that in KwaZulu-Natal, they have always known the role that Harry Gwala could play. People have always known the role that Peter Mokaba could play. You know, all that. We differ. We differ. My role, when I was in the ANC Youth League, they knew that when you give Matjoi this, no, you will bring people for you.
Yeah.
And
yes.
whether I was good at the level of the table or here, and I was always told, no, Matjoi, if you have played the role of mobilizing people, and when we get to the table, on the basis of you not having intensive knowledge about the struggle and the revolution, don't feel sad. You have played your part.
Yeah.
And you are needed. You see? Now, mine was just to upload. So, and then I was taken into becoming a regional secretary, a Communist Party, Ngoi. And then I went there to go Elijah Bahai and sharpen my politics. But as to whether I'm only good at talking and mobilizing and teaching, it's something else. Yeah. But if somebody says, no, this guy is an all-rounder, he's a commissar who can also this, or he's a comrade, or he's just a ground force activist, that remains to be defined by somebody else.
Yeah. All right, going down to Calvin again with Bukhajo. The number is 064548776. You want to comment about today. Today, the topic of today, Rebua Kahore, is this. I give you this topic that people can be able to hear what we're talking about today. There we go. The topic of today, Mr. Matjoi, and then Mr. Matjoi, he is a political analyst and an activist himself. To saying Lechtemek Mafikeng Northwest. And then the topic of today, why did Floyd ditch there? And the EFF, as you know, that Floyd Shivambu has resigned from the EFF, all positions, being the deputy president, being a member of parliament. He's now gone. He didn't renew his membership because he said, he asked the chairperson, listen, don't renew your membership, it's fine. But now he's part of MKP party, led by Jacob Zuma himself. And then he's a member there. You don't know what position is going to be given. We are still looking and still speculating, as we've been doing ever since 7:30. And then the other question is this the end of the EFF and Julius Malema? We can come to that now in a minute. So as I say, if you want to comment, the number is 064-548-7176. I'm coming to you live again on my Facebook page, kgosietsile Segongane. You can go there and check me in the studio. I'm alone. Check me in the studio, and then you can comment there as well and like, subscribe. And then this video itself, I'm shooting for YouTube now. It's not live there, but I'm going to upload it tonight before I go home, and then you can be able to go there to YouTube, which is the Kgosietsile Segongane live show, and then you like, subscribe, and then you can comment as well down below and tell us what you think about this, or why do you think, like in your reasoning, why do you think Floyd Shivambu ditched the EFF, and do you think this is the end of Julius Malema and the EFF? So Calvinari, they would have made Holomisa deputy. He's used to coup d'etat, so he cannot be trusted. Then the freedom charter as well. He's used to doing coup d'etat, so he might just overthrow the one who's above him in a minute, and then been the president already. The freedom charter does not belong to the ANC, but to the people. That is why EFF can speak to it. So, Mr. Matjoi, today, not so long ago, there were other reports that came out, Barakim, I don't know if you know about this, but I've searched before the show, maybe I can get something. No article has been there yet, but it's just allegations or just reports that are flying all over Twitter, social media. Mbuseni Ndlozi and Marshall Dlamini, the Secretary General, I think, have been suspended immediately. Do you have any knowledge of that?
Okay. No, that one I don't know. I'm not sure about it. I don't want to speculate. I haven't seen it. I did before you coming in. I just went into other newsrooms to check other issues, not only specifically this one. I have not seen it. I only saw Marshal Dlamini addressing a meeting somewhere, saying to people, Malema is firm, strong, moving forward.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that. That's number one. Number two, is it the end of Malema or EFF?
Of EFF, yes.
I'm saying, I'm saying EFF, Malema, and the collective. They came to realize that MKP is here to stay.
Yeah.
And they also see it as a strategic partner, politically and at governance.
Yes.
So as to whether who exists matters not to them. EFF will not die. EFF will not die.
How sure are you about this one?
The ideology and the issue of a generational mission will not die.
Yeah.
Because you must see the agenda of EFF as the issue of freedom in our lifetime.
Yeah.
It's something that is at the tip of everybody's tongue. So nobody will then kill that view.
Yes.
So it will always be championed by EFF. Even if the voice will not be so audible and loud like before, supposedly they decrease. But the EFF with its generational mission of freedom in our lifetime, it will not die.
Yeah.
But in terms of their planning, strategic planning and organizational planning, they want to see themselves rising.
Yeah.
So they are not going to leave MK to rise and say, no, they are our strategic partners. No, they're not going to do that because they don't have a formal alliance pact. You see? So they will fight for their own space there.
Yeah.
That's number one. Number two, Malema is a person. Anything can happen to Malema. He can die a natural death. He can on his own resolve to leave. You know, so comparing Malema and EFF are two different things. So we must look at EFF.
Yeah.
You see? So I don't want us to entertain this one of the end of Malema. If EFF is there, Malema is there, the conference elect him, he will still go on. Yeah. So and any decline and whatever will not necessarily determine the demise of Malema. He will still be there. Yeah. Whether the party goes down, but Malema will be there. But as for EFF dying to a point of zero, like Cope closing shop, I don't think it's happening now.
Are they closing shop?
The generation.
Are they closing shop?
No, as you can see, the structure has collapsed. You are only left with the foundation.
They are dying slow, painful death.
Yeah, no, the structure is dead. You are only left with the foundation. It's difficult for you to see even the foundation. Or the foundation was not underground. It was on the surface.
On top, yes.
I realized slab. So that's where how I categorize Cope. But so Cope, EFF will always be there. Yeah. That's number one.
Yeah.
Number two, MK, my reading is that they have identified MK as a structure that is rising.
Yes.
And that will partner with them.
Yeah.
You see? You remember, like the caller there, or the member who texted, he said, not only Panyasa talking about UDF, we spoke about the PAC in the 50s getting out of the ANC after Freedom Charter, the formation of AZAPO, BCMA, and UDF, again UDM, UDF, etc., etc., etc.
Yeah.
Put that aside. The formation of IFP, because Buthelezi comes from ANC Youth League. Now, put that aside. The ANC has always ensured that they don't fight their other partners. They may differ in terms of ideologies. Yeah. You know what AZAPO fought for. You know what a PAC fought for. Yeah, what the ANC fought for. And what the three of them fought against. The enemy was one.
Yes.
So in this regard, MK and EFF, they have identified the enemy.
Mm-hmm.
You see? They have identified the enemy. The enemy remains white monopoly capital.
Yes.
You see? And then on their way to defeat DA is the ANC. So for them, they are loaning Floyd to say, go and streamline so that when we get there, we don't have a problem of us. If MK gets more votes than EFF and they get co-opted into that government, there shouldn't be disparities between them in terms of policies.
Yeah.
That's where the loan of Floyd comes in. That's where the Jimmy Money and others come in.
Yes.
So that's my reading. That will be my reading into the whole thing. So that they must not be far from each other. You know how Mandela attempted to bring the Azapo, the PAC into the thing. The formation of GNU during Mandela's time, as per the then constitution, and the declaration and the Act of 2000, etc., that political parties that obtain, is it 10% from the 1994 elections must be part, it was a must be part of GNU.
Yeah.
So PAC failed to obtain that. Azapo failed to obtain that. So that is why they were not part of the GNU Yara Mandela's time. But he just picked up one from them. He said, no, Musubudi Mangena, if my memory serves me, or was it Peko or whoever. In our list.
Yes.
So when they get there, they end up doing the ANC program because it was the ANC that led.
Yeah. Yes.
So it was a GNU, but it was led by the ANC because they won. So Musubudi Mangena had to do what the ANC instructed him to do. You see?
Yeah.
But with this one, they are trying to align things to say, when we get there, and you, MK, supposing you are leading in terms of percentages, and you command in terms of leading, we must not be far away from you, not in terms of numbers, but in terms of ideologies and approaches and where we want to take the country moving forward. You see, of late, quantitatively, they are now agreeing in most of the things. If they object to their budget, they object. If they agree on something, they agree.
Yeah.
And these are some of the homogeneous programs that are bringing them together.
All
that
right.
will be my reading.
Yeah.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go back to the WhatsApp. Oh, remember the number is 064-548-7976. Send it those WhatsApps through. Today we are talking to Mr. Matjoi Mongale. He's the political analyst from Kgosi FM. So now I'm talking to aspiring and you know what, to the ground analysts. I don't need this ones. Prince Marshall, I'd rather go to people who are to the lower ground so that they can be able to get the purest and the genuine analysis of any topic, not talking on a bias side, because some of them really, they will talk from the bias, and you can even hear that Opila he's not, he's actually talking for one party in this discussion. But today we're discussing the reason why Floyd Shivambu ditched the EFF for the MKP party, and the second question is this the end of Malema and the EFF? So but Marshall Dlamini has been here on TV just now, because they are, and I believe that they are addressing the grounds forum. Malema is doing that, and then Marshall Dlamini has been there now, and then he has been talking together with Malema just now currently. So how can he be suspended? Yeah, I cannot know. Now we hear news, and then social media, they throw in something. That's why it's called an allegation, not a fact yet. And then another one year, how can EFF die even today? PAC still alive. The EFF speaks for the marginalized, okay? And then who does the ANC speak to currently? Because we know that the DA we know what the DA stands for. What does ANC stand for? Corruption, maybe? Another one here, the COPE is no longer has structures, even the leaders are gone. And then look at Fikile Mbalula. They tried him as Minister of Sports, Minister of Police, Minister of Transport, and as Secretary General. I shame. The guy is just good at failing unaided. Yeah. Those are WhatsApps that are coming through on 064-548-776. Luana can do likewise and send it through. All about not call as such, but if you want to send a voice note as well, that will be best, because voice note is I can hear what you're saying, like in your voice is very nice. The same number is 064-548-7176. So, Mr. Matjoi, the last 6 minutes of today's show, can you wrap it up for me and then let me know when this whole thing, if you can just say you analyze you summarize everything now. What is your summary? Is is there good things ahead of us coming, or are we really heading for a disaster, as some analysts have said?
No, thanks. Tonight's topic was that we were trying to seek clarity, analyze the departure of Floyd.
Yeah.
And we coming to a conclusion that he's on a political mission.
Loan. He's been loaned, yes.
That has a strategic objective.
Yeah.
To assist MK in building systems at the level of the organization.
Yeah.
So that when they go to the conference, their discussion documents, the formation of branches, the formation of structures for branch, region, province, leading to the national conference.
Yes.
And also to streamline their ideologies.
Yeah.
So I think that's their mission. That's my reading. Number two, we also we saw and heard that Mani is gone. He will assist at the issue of communication and governance.
Yeah.
And we are also told that there are many that are likely to follow. And some will go on their own if they don't understand and know the bigger picture. Some will be released.
Yes.
And whether we're going to perceive that as paging by Malema, it's something else. That's number one. Number two, Marshall Dlamini, today, we know many things can be pegged on social media.
Yeah.
But I saw him addressing and saying CIC is fair. Number three, somebody saying, what is it? We no longer know what the ANC stands for. The ANC, number one, if I'm not wrong, it is clear that the ANC is a broad church with motive forces that seeks to benefit from the National Democratic Revolution.
Yes.
It's very clear about who are those people. But any term of leadership after the conference, we either have people who delay the attainment of a mission or not. Remember, in the early 20s, 30s, the ANC was in a lull moment. Yeah. And people were not happy about the leaders that led the ANC back then. So even now, there might be many people who are not happy about what the ANC stands for. But the discussion documents of the ANC, they are very clear of what the ANC seeks to defend, seeks to achieve from your Freedom Charter, your National Democratic Revolution set objectives, etc.
Yeah,
it's clear. So as to whether the Mbalulas of today and those who are leading, they might be diluting for self-enrichment or whatever, or for their comfort or whatever. It's something else. But the ANC will remain, and the ANC will maybe need a leader who will then come and reverse the whole thing, say, but the decision that was taken, although it might have been strategic, that we go into bed with DA rather than MK and EFF, it has made us suffer a serious blow. Yeah. So let us review this thing. It can happen. Number three, the MK, we are also coming to a conclusion that MK is lacking infrastructural design, but Floyd is there, but MK is fortunate to have many activists and people like it. And number two, they are passionate in terms of raising governance issues. They may lack experience, but they will use the lives of those who are there. So it's likely to contest the space equally with EFF and other black progressive movements. But finally, they will convert somewhere. Yeah. So that was what we have been saying in a nutshell. Thank you.
All right. No, thank you, Mr. Matjoi, so much again for being with us at Kgosi FM, and always be availing yourself, Kgosi. Whenever I phone, are you gonna be in? And then you are like, yeah, I'm there. Without saying, hey, what? So thank you so much for all your expert analysis that you always. There's our wisdom professor of us called Professor Matjoi Mongale. Yes, Prof. Prof. Matjoi Mongale, because you really can dwell into a subject and make us understand understand and see exactly how things are. So, Mr. Matjoi, thank you so very much. But before you go, let me just give you a little laughter. Ari Calvin, the Mandela said, if ANC does to you what apartheid did to you, and you should do exactly to the ANC what you did to apartheid. And then Jimmy Manye has been loaned a lot of times, ANC, ATM, EFF, and now MKP. And then the last one, Kgosi Tautona Mangope said, so that was Calvin for us now, giving us the last shot today's show. Mr. Matjoi Moranaka, thank you so very much for taking your time again and for taking your time from your busy schedule for being with us. Mr. Matjoi, like I said, is an activist, and he said, you are a speaker, Mr. Matjoi. You are a speaker. You can speak in an event, right?
Yeah, I can, I think. Yeah.
So I believe we can market you now, and then if you have an event that you would like him to come and speak at a political, social, school, because he is the principal of a high school as we speak now. So if you want him to come and speak to you, what is your tell people your number, contact, and then contact here, and you must come here anywhere else and be able to speak and motivate our kids and speak at any event that people might have. What's your cell phone number again?
Okay, my brother, no thanks.
No, tell them your cell phone number, then they can still contact me after that if maybe they didn't hear. Maybe I can just hear it from when.
Now, 060.
Oh, sorry, Mr. Matjoi just cut off there, but I'm going to get him back on the line and he can give you his numbers simply because he is a speaker, as I said. He's a speaker, and the man is good in everything and analysis. Principal of a school, of a high school, as I said, and and then he will give you his numbers, and then you guys can be able to call him if you want him to come and speak.
Oh, sorry about that.
Okay.
Saying 060. 7807557.
All right, so it's 060-780-7557. So if you guys want a speaker to come to your school or event or any political gathering, please contact Mr. Matjoi. He's a political analyst. He's an activist, as I said, and in his own right. And then he will come and I'll say, how much you're going to be getting and how much you're going to be paying him to come and speak. But then that's me. Not anymore. And then if you want his numbers, you can still contact me. And then I can still give them to you, and you can be able to arrange with him to come and have a talk. The number is 060-780-7557. Mr. Matjoi, thank you about today, and then we really have learned a lot. And as always, Moranaka, please keep your eye on the ground for us. Or the next time, if you have something, contact him like you did now, because really it's something which is there. So I want to thank you so much, Kgosi, for today. Thank you so very much. Have a lovely night, further.
No, good night, Kalebo. You know, all the participants, the WhatsApp, and those bands already. Figures ruling is not absolute, but I'll also, after we upload, I can check a quick over to Ambari, and then I can also learn from them.
Thank you.
Then I'm not immune from dissenting views. I can also learn from others. Thank you and good night.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Good night. Bye-bye. Yeah, that was Mr. Matjoi Mongale. As I said, he's a political analyst from home. Go Lechtenbeck Mafikeng. Go Haiku to sing. You know what? How you need to first start home as well, and then you bring talent, and then you can be able to unearth other talent around where you are. So if you know you are a political analyst in Ward 60, as we are broadcasting from there, please contact me on 064-548-7976. On one of our political shows that we can put you there in the lines of the Brimatriki, Bo Prince Mashele, you know, everybody who's called a political analyst. You don't have to go to school for that. If you can be able to hold it down like Mr. Matjoi did for past 2 hours, you can be able to. Calvin is one of them. Lenny is coming. He can be able to. He can be called a political analyst because while your job is to analyze politics, you analyze the situation. You look at the situation and then you analyze it. Okay, now in my view, this is a definite thing. In my view, my predictions, my thoughts, I'm thinking this might be going this direction. I'm not a political analyst myself, I'm just a radio host, but I'm saying if you are out there as well and you want to be part of Kgosi FM political analysis team, please contact me on 064 548 7176. So today's show, fellow Namo, tomorrow we are meeting again. Tomorrow, remember, is our it's our Religious Tuesday, and I've got the two heavyweights again, Bishop Ike Mabena and Pastor Sam Matsile. Tomorrow we are talking about a controversial subject which most most pastors are afraid of. One, there's a thing, and I'll say a video that I came across on the internet, and it really disturbed me. I did not want to talk myself, but I wanted them to come and tell us, what are we saying as Christians? Apparently, there's 5 couples in the Bible that were LGBTQ, and these people are actually analyzing those 5 couples, 1 couple each for five of them, and I'm going to be playing each of those couples, and then they will tell us why they think these people were gay, and why is it like they thought these people were LGBTQ, and why do they actually believe that these people are LGBT. So tomorrow, tomorrow. Calvin is similar, Bafanas. Calvin is you are similar. No, we're not, Bafanas. This has to be spoken out. People must understand how is the world being deceived by these false teachers? The Bible, like when the Bible says false teachers, they didn't mean only you being a prophet, in inverted commas, prophet, have intent. They speak about each and everything that will come as against the teachings of the very Bible. So tomorrow, tune in again, man. 7:30 to 9:30. I'll be having Bishop Igma Ben in the studio, and I'll be having Pastor Sam Matileng here. I believe he's still come from the flu. I think he'll be here tomorrow to analyze this thing and talk more about it. And then don't forget to send all your comments over, and then your voice notes too on the number 064 548 7176. So without that, I'm saying further, bye-bye. I will see you tomorrow again, 7:30 to 9:30. Like I said to you, this is going to be on a podcast, and a podcast I'm going to upload it to my YouTube channel, which is the Kgosietsile Live Show, and then this has been streamed live on www.kgosiefm.co.za, and again on www.segongane.holdings.co.za, and streaming live on my Facebook page, which is the Kgosietsile Segongane Live Show. So with that, bye-bye. I love you. Have a good night. Bye-bye.